It's been so long, you've been so tough. You've kept it up, you've kept me up. Been standing tall, keeping strong, and I'm doing well. I'm eating more, and though you might think that you're fine, you need someone. And though you've been in your time, you need someone to love. And though you might think that you're fine, you need someone. And though you've been big in your time, you need someone.
Hi guys! Long time no see. I feel like my last couple months of videos has been a lot more focused on like montages and just being in the moment with my friends in Charleston and even in Nashville. I feel like I've not just sat and hung out with you guys, so this feels really good. And there's just a couple things I wanted to touch on because it is so important to me every new year to really reflect on not only my work goals and continuing to challenge myself and find new things to focus on that keep me from a burnout that so many people I know and have seen get burnt out. That's really important to me, and kind of finding those goals and really focusing on them on top of my own personal goals and just reflecting on the growth, because to the day, literally a year ago today, I sat in a LA hotel room and filmed the hardest video I ever filmed in my life. It was a video basically, without saying it, announcing my heartbreak that had happened a couple days prior, so suddenly, so just quickly, over the phone, 15-minute kind of thing. It was devastating to me. And you know, with that, I'm at a very healed place. So I'm not gonna sit here, and I never did. One thing I'm really proud of myself for in that year that I was so heartbroken and a lot of times angry, I was able to really early on separate the person in this heartbreak situation with me and then the feeling of being heartbroken, and honor through all of my videos about learning heartbreak and grieving it. I focused on that feeling rather than the person. And I was proud of myself for that, because that can be hard at times. Heartbreak can be messy and hurtful and upsetting, and so it can be hard to figure out how to honor your heartbreak without another's name or the situation getting drawn in. But I knew from the beginning the two were going to remain separate. And that has gone with a lot of heartbreak I felt in my life when I've had different things with friends kind of come to an end. No matter what I could say, how I could have gone about it, what views, popularity, that shit has never mattered to me. And I have never been friends with someone that's also mattered to. I feel like I've always picked well with that. And so I've always been able to have very respectful kind of endings where it's like, I'm not gonna sit here and talk about that. And so I never had that with heartbreak, and especially in a situation where there wasn't times I wanted to be so respectful about it, but I was, and I was so hurt. And there was just so many times this time a year ago feeling so disrespected and so heartbroken in Hawaii, and just, God, I remember just breaking down literally like in my dad's arms. That's a new humbling feeling. If you've broken down your damn dad's arms, God, I don't wish that literally on my worst enemy. Like, it is just so humbling and heartbreaking. It was just such new feelings to me. Feeling so abandoned and feeling just so gut-wrenchingly awful about yourself, because I am such a protective person. And one thing I've always, maybe this is me just having too much of an ego with myself. I mean, I came out of the womb with an ego, and that has nothing to do with social media. I always had felt the need to be a step ahead of everyone else, always be thinking differently, looking ahead, predicting things, reading people. Just being competitive and a perfectionist, I think, is added on to that. When a situation happens where the outcome that you never thought would have happened happens, it leaves you almost with like a huge boiling question mark. And that's kind of what I had and was dealing with. And so my ego was so dented that it was like, how am I supposed to pull my way out of this in the most unproblematic way possible? And I want to sit here today, a year later, and give myself a damn round of applause because I did it, and I did it peacefully, I did it respectfully, I kept my mouth shut, and that's something that has served so much good for me in the year when I didn't have to. So as I said about, separating the two, I continue to talk about it in a separated aspect. Getting your heart broken is one of the worst feelings in the world. If you're going through that right now at the beginning of the year, where maybe you thought your new year was gonna start with new health routine and new goals and resolutions and getting your life together, there's no timeline for that. You can't help when shitty things happen. You also can't help how you feel in a particular month. Don't feel hard on yourself for the normalization of having an amazing January, because that's okay to not have that. I had the worst January in a lot of ways mentally on myself last year, and I felt this pressure to be thriving, and I wasn't, and that's okay, because now you may be sitting here next year, next January, being so proud of how far you've come to pull yourself out of that dark time. I think with heartbreak, what really baffled me was I had to pull myself out. I had to stop the toxic habits, this toxic observing, the toxic thoughts and patterns. That was all on me. People could give me the advice, but when it came down to me in bed, traveling to new countries by myself, new states, new places, new hotels, it came down to me and what I was gonna do to make myself feel better and not go backwards in my growth. And so I'm not saying I was perfect with it. Did I hurt my feelings far too many times early on last year? Oh my God, yeah. Once you stop and you find power in that and you're actively choosing to better yourself, it is such an empowering feeling. And so to sit here a year later, being able to genuinely understand why I went through what I did is so beautiful, because the big question for so long was why did this have to happen? What could I have done differently? And at the end of the day, you should always, always be with someone that will take you for who you are, what you offer, good and bad, and never feel like ashamed for who you are. Having mental health struggles, whether that is being bipolar, having OCD, having anxiety, things that I've dealt with and felt judged for before, is really hard. And I think it takes finding people that can accept you and want to understand and learn about how you are and who you are is so important. And that was something I really took the time to understand last year. I think it took me a while because I was just searching for validation for so long at the beginning of the year with these like shitty ass guys. Like when I say like, I had heard some horror stories from friends and just online of like guys just being the worst, but because I didn't really grow up dating or doing any of that shit, I was like, what? Like that actually happens? And then randomly, you're single and you start looking in these horrible places for guys to fill your ego or make you feel validated, and then you're just, you basically break your heart over again. Ultimately, what you realize is that validation has to come from yourself. No one can give that to you. And I definitely felt like there was times last year where I was preaching one thing online, but doing something very different. And I think you guys maybe felt that shift in like May to June when I kind of stopped focusing on the healing of myself and my walks and therapy. And I kind of was just like being randomly mysterious and just throwing up a video when I could. That was because I was kind of like not really proud of what I was doing off camera and who I was entertaining or spending time with. Your time is one of your most valuable, precious things. Don't give that away easily, I promise you. I guess what I'm getting at is always look in the right places for friendship, for relationship, all of that. It is so important to do. Once I figured that out and was able to fully accept myself and also learn when it was time to go. There's a song by Taylor Swift, It's Time to Go. Fire song, please listen to it. I always knew when it was time to go, like in any situation, but the minute you can actually honor that and leave or walk away, I think is when the power all comes back to you. And it took a couple times of that happening last year because I had never done that before, of knowing that deep feeling of, all right, it's not right, it's time to go, and actually honoring it and applying it. That was when all my power came back. And that's when I felt the shift of, oh my God, like I'm interviewing you. Like this isn't the other way around. And I think a lot of guys with egos think it's the other way. But the minute I changed my mindset with dating and all of that was when the right people started entering into my life. And I can confidently say I'm very, very happy with where I'm at right now. And that's really all I'm gonna say on it. But yeah, that's just my own little, I'm like, we're gonna bookmark and check off the whole dating and all of that, because believe it or not, there is a lot more to life than that. And that stuff I like to focus on as well. When it comes to producing videos this year. I was really thinking long and hard about it and just, you know, finding my new happy place, which is something else that I think is a huge update that I don't want to officially share yet because I may or may not be moving somewhere with someone, a very special someone, in a couple months. So we're gonna wait on that, but just know I have found my happy place, and I've been kind of keeping a lot of the special parts of it to myself in the last couple of months of being in Charleston. It's like I wondered for so long traveling around and trying to find somewhere to call home why it wasn't clicking, and then you come here and then it's like it was all just clicking for me, and it was like that's why it wasn't working before. And I think that's a valuable lesson for not just when it comes to living somewhere, but when it comes to dating and friendship. It's like you wonder why is it not clicking, but then one day it just does. I cherish it here, and I cherish a lot of what I've created here in the foundation, and it's been really special for me to kind of have happiness outside of social media, because that I think is very important. Social media is forever changing. YouTube is not the same place it was. Instagram is not the same place. I feel like TikTok is taken over, which is crazy, and it has been for a while, but I think this year more than ever, like social media is just very different. I want to always be solid and okay and happy as just Ellie, you know, and that's important for me to really work on. With that, I think quality over quantity is a huge focus of mine this year. I think last year it was just about producing, post a photo dump, post a video, just get shit up, which isn't bad, but it's like I'm at a point now after almost 9 years of doing what I love to do. I want everything I post to have an impact and to have a beautiful, positive meaning and make someone feel good. And so I guess my mindset is everyone can do social media, and so many people do nowadays, which is a great thing. But what can I be doing in a positive manner that makes me stand out, that's leaving a good impact? And that's kind of where I'm at now of I don't want to just post a post anymore. I want to post things that have real deep value and meaning. And so while I'm kind of working on that and brainstorming, I want to just post maybe a little bit less and really just have meaning with what I do post. One of my goals this year is to start walking half marathons and create teams and be able to walk for organizations, and one that's really special to my family and I is glioblastoma and all organizations connected with that, and brain cancer. And so that is something I want to really deep dive into on top of pursuing my degree in the end. That is very important to me. The last thing I really wanted to touch on as we do our little reflection video this year is I think full circle moments are so beautiful, and I was filled with so many of them last year with so many different aspects. Part of that whole putting out good and keeping bad offline and just like focusing on the good brought so many beautiful things to light. One of those being I had the biggest phone call announcement of my life on a day of this past week that I was dreading so much, because I swear your body knows when you had a really hard feeling on a certain day, even if it was years ago. I swear there's something to that. Like I was dreading this one day and how I felt the first week of the new year. And on that day, I woke up to the biggest work call, life-changing call of my life. And I can't share what it is yet. I feel like I'm giving a lot of like loose ends here, but everything's gonna kind of tie in and make sense when I can talk about it. I was with my best friend and my sister in Charleston, my happy place, and it was the most full circle thing. I can't wait to talk about it. There's some travel coming up for it. There's been a lot of behind the scenes meetings and stuff. It's something I've worked for the last 2 years, and it's happening, and I can't wait to share. But modeling, that's the only hint I can give, is something I really want to focus on more than ever this year. I feel I'm finally at a good place with my body, mentally and physically. I feel like this time last year, I was being body shamed online and I wasn't treating my body well. I lost a lot of unhealthy weight that I should not have lost. I really struggled with that, and I felt that even growing up at times with agencies that weren't supporting of me, being a young girl, being told to lose, you know, certain measurements, it was really toxic. And to finally just feel accepted for who I am and how I look, and know that I work out to be strong and only to be strong, has been the best thing for me. And so it's like to finally feel at a good place is just being Ellie physically and mentally. I can now let that shine through in the modeling work. So that's really exciting. There's a lot to come this year, and I think it's just really special for me to kind of look back and reflect on the last year and all the lessons I learned. There were so many times last year it was, why is this happening to me? Why why me? How did this have to happen? What did I do wrong? But at the end of the day, all this stuff wasn't happening to me, it was happening for me. It got me to where I am. I feel so proud of who I've become. I hold no resentment in my life, and I'm able to feel grateful for everything, despite how hard that can be and a hard pill it was to swallow. Apologies, I didn't want to swallow. Taking away my pride and my ego and just being Ellie and just acknowledging everything that makes me me and just looking for only people that can accept that. It's like at this point, there's only so many things you can change or improve on, but there's gonna be core things about yourself that just make you you. That's what's beautiful about being human. We're all different and you can't make yourself be someone else. And once I kind of got that through my head, I think it gave me a lot of peace of mind. I'm very excited for this year. Don't think I'm going anywhere. I'm still here. You guys are still my best friends, genuinely. I just want to take a step back and just have, you know, deeper thought, deeper meaning, deeper connection. So I hope you understand that. I love you guys. I'm forever grateful. And there's much to come in the new year. I love 2023 already. Something is in the damn air. All right. I will see you guys very soon. Mwah. Goodbye.